I know that being able to communicate with all kinds of people in all kinds of situations is important in your company as a management consultant. And I believe I have this skill. Actually, I could illustrate this by telling about my very first day as a university student. It was a sunny morning, and I was standing in the train on my way to orientation week. And while I was standing there, I couldn't stop being excited, but also a little nervous. But okay, I didn't look exactly like all other passengers. I was actually completely dressed up as a clown from top to toe with a big hat, red nose, and green and yellow striped pants. And from an outsider, it must have looked crazy. But I was also nervous because I worried a little that it wasn't the right thing, or that I was not actually able to get a job with this program. It was in the beginning of the financial crisis, and the study was relatively new, so I was a little nervous. But while I was standing there in my own thoughts, an older blind man comes into the train and stumbles. And I don't know how I managed to do that today, but I somehow catches him. And while I'm putting him to a safe seat, a woman, Anna, I'm later told, is helping me with this. And afterwards, Anna looked at me and says, I cannot stop asking, like, why are you dressed up like that? And I tell her it's because I'm going to my new study orientation. We are gonna have a circus theme. And she says, oh, so with what study? Business and psychology, I tell her. And she had never heard about this program before. And she's a little skeptical. She's like, I don't think psychology has anything to do with business. And I cannot really see how that knowledge would change anything on the bottom line. Like when you have to create a profit. And I could really feel her skeptical attitude and that she's used to work with very technical stuff. And she tells me, rightly enough, that she was working in a digital agency creating web pages for different clients such as IKEA or Maersk. So I get even more nervous because the first person I meet is so skeptical about this combination, and I feel, oh no, have I chose the wrong thing? But then I look up on the screen that shows that I'm getting closer to Copenhagen Business School. And in that moment I realized, no, I didn't choose this study program because I wanted recognition. I chose this study program because I really believe that a way to a better future for businesses is knowledge of psychology. So I pull myself together and I tell Anna that I actually believe that psychology has a lot to do with business. Internally, because you have to be able to motivate your employees. And externally, because you have to be able to know your customer, know your customer's behavior, know how they're thinking, their needs. So I tell Anna, you are making a web page. Being able to know how people prefer colors together with structures is essential. People are not just randomly liking something. They are very much wired by their brain to prefer something over other. And a knowledge of psychology actually give an insight into how people's preferences are when they go into a web page. And a knowledge of this can actually in the end determine your future success and therefore your profit for the company. And while we're talking, I can see that Anna's very skeptical face is slowly turning to a more positive, open face, and she's starting nodding. And when we reach, 2 minutes before we reach my final stop at Copenhagen Business School, she looks at me and says, I actually think you have a point about that psychology is actually maybe important to know something about when you do business. Maybe you can work in my company. In your company? It turned out that she was just not working. She was actually the CEO of the company. And she offered me a job. They were going to create a new webpage for CBS, where she said, maybe you can help us make it more intuitive so that people in your own age can see that they kind of recognize that it is a good structure when they go into it. And that means that when I took my very first step out from the train on my new school, and I just had my very first day of studying, I also had my very first day of improving Copenhagen Business School's webpage, and that made me excited, and there was no need for me to worry anymore about whatever I could get a job within this combination, because I managed to turn her around. And then I thought, then I can turn other people around as well. And I believe that this story shows that even dressed up as a clown, looking completely ridiculous, I can actually change people's minds. And I believe that I, as a consultant in your company, can make people believe what I'm saying. Not just having the psychology, theoretical knowledge, but also motivate people to go out and do the necessary things so they can help and improve their businesses.